here joining us on Zoom.
This meeting is being recorded.
Looks like your recording's working because it just told me it's being recorded.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for coming, and we'll go ahead and get this meeting started and get done as quickly as we can and everyone back to their families. But we're excited for the camp this year, and you know, it's been a lot of snow up there this year, so I don't think Jason or anyone's been up to the camp yet.
Not unless you have a snowmobile.
Okay. Well,
I'm thinking helicopter.
yes. Okay. Well, and with that, we'll kind of just start off on our agenda here by starting with any feedback or overview or things that people have from being up at the camp last year. Does anyone here that's on the call with us have any thoughts they want to share or feedback from last year? All right.
Jennifer, were you up there last year?
We were. We did our youth conference up there.
How was it?
It was good.
That's good. Which
Wow.
camp were you in?
We had the whole place because we're a pretty big stake.
Okay, great.
So we camped in the lower part is where we had our ward set up to camp, and then we used the upper part for some activities and stuff. But yeah, we used the whole thing.
That's great.
I guess
That's
the
good.
only hiccup that we had is
Glad you were
we
able
had,
to do that.
what was that?
So I'm glad you were able to use it. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, the only hiccup we had was we had a couple cars, one car that took the wrong way and ended up getting stuck in some mud, but everything else was great.
Okay.
Was that within the camp or prior to getting into the camp boundary?
I think it was right before you get in. There's like the road, there's the split in the road, and they took the wrong one and got stuck in the
Okay.
mud.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't inside the camp. I think it was right out. So then we moved somebody down there to make sure that they were going the right way. So.
Okay. Well, that's good feedback. Maybe there's a way we can put a small sign there or something so people don't go that way.
Yeah. Because then other cars started following because we had our ward staggered coming up there. So that one ward, because the one car went that way, several cars behind them went that same way. So.
Okay.
But
So did they go right instead of going left?
I think that's what it was. I was already up there because as the stake leaders, we had gone up the night before so we could be up there. So I'm not quite sure exactly what happened. That's just what I heard was that there was a few cars that had gone the wrong way and there was some mud they got stuck in, like to the point that somebody was like digging the mud out and trying to push the car out.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Well, that's one thing we can note as we go up this year, Patty, is also look at the signs we do have and see what, if any, maintenance we need to make on those signs that we've put up in the past.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're probably about, 4 years old.
the Pioneer Stake had their girls camp and their fathers and sons outing on the east side. So it went very well.
That's great. That's good. Well, glad you've been able to use the camp and look forward to more people using it this next year. That's great. All right. The next thing to make everyone aware of is we've got our day for the first day of service to clean up the camp from the, growth during the winter and get it ready for this next year. We've scheduled that for June 3rd. And Jason is guaranteeing the snow will melt by then.
No, I'm guaranteeing that it won't be on the 3rd is what I'm going to guarantee. It's going to be either the 10th or the 18th.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of have to play it by ear based on how quickly the snow melts. So we need everybody's cooperation to, probably, block out the 10th as the most likely day. That's what we're gonna hope for. If we can get in there the 3rd, great, but like Jason said, most likely based on all the snow we've had, it's going to take a little bit longer to melt. So the 10th and the 18th, we're gonna kind of, at 17th, I guess, is more of the days that we're gonna have to plan on. And so we'll just, everyone can kind of keep it on their calendar until we actually do it and be a little flexible based on when the snow melts. That would be helpful.
I was going to say Jason and I will coordinate going up there and checking and making sure, you know, a week before the planned date, if things are looking good or not, and passing the word along.
It might, and me and you, Doug, we can work together at one point or another if, because it's generally, there's just a few spots that you can't get through where there's 25 yards of a snow drift, things like that. If it's really severe, I might be able to get somebody with like a skid steer to knock that snow off. But if it's kind of more mild, maybe we can organize 10 guys to go up there and kind of shovel in a way, but we'll play it by ear.
Okay, and we'll keep everyone updated as we get closer, and you know, as we review things week by week, we'll let everyone know so we can, but if you can have people start, you know, planning on it and getting people from your stake signed up to be involved with this service day, that would be great. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail about that. I don't know if we want to go into that now, Doug, or is that something we should go into now, Patty? Okay, I'll turn the time over to you, Doug, to kind of, we're going to do the service day a little bit different this year, and I'll let Doug and Jason kind of talk about that.
Okay, let me pull up my. Let me just get the right screen here. So as President Smith mentioned, we're going to change things up just a little bit regarding how we go about the cleanup for the season. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to assign each stake within our group specific campsites. And you may be assigned a campsite in a facility or a facility in a pavilion. It just depends. We're making up the schedule and we'll be assigning things out. But as far as things go, we'll make sure that all the campsites are addressed. And one of the things that we want to try to get in place prior to the start of the season is some designated tent sites within each campsite. And so we are going to get some load of sand, gravel, and various other things like some perhaps wood beams and things that we can put in the ground that will act as the borders for those sites, and then make sure that the center of that site is filled with the sand gravel mix that you can put a tent on. And the idea behind the sand gravel mix is it's a little porous, and when it does rain up there, it will shed the water very easily, but yet still be a good staking ground for a tent. Anyway, so we'll have all of those assignments done. So as you and your stake are preparing to come up, there'll be a list of suggested things that you bring, because each stake is going to be involved in the same type of activities within each campsite. So we'll have this list sent out so you can start preparing. We may add to it with other items as we get closer to the actual day of service.
And Jason, will you have the sand, gravel, and other things up there for people to use to designate those tent sites?
That is what I am anticipating. If the roads are too wet, I can't get trucks up there. I can't get dump trucks up there if it's too wet.
Okay.
So that's,
well,
the answer is, I'm going to try.
Hopefully we can get it up there before the day of service, so we can, each of the stakes can use that day of service to designate those tent sites. Doing these tent sites is something that we've been asked to do when we had the church facilities director come and do a review of the campsite at the end of the year. They wanted us to have these tent sites more designated, and I think it will help improve the camp overall going forward for everyone that that uses it. Everybody understand or have any questions on that?
I have.
No, this is great, because like other years when we've gone up there, it's just kind of a little bit of free for all. What you do, somebody would assign you to a fence or a place, but yeah, this is gonna be really helpful.
Okay, well, we appreciate everyone's help, and we'll need everybody's help within the stakes to make sure they have a good group from your stake up there to create these tent sites and get each of these campsites cleaned up.
Great.
And you guys as stake representatives for each of your stakes, you might put the word out on a few things. If somebody has like a little skid steer or a little, tractor type device and they want to bring it up for the weekend of this cleanup, it would do a world of help. You know what I mean? Flattening out these spots, doing things like that. One or two little things for a couple of hours would be amazing.
If we don't have anyone that has a skid steer that we can leverage to bring up, we're going to try and get one up there ourselves as a rental. So,
yeah,
because it will just make moving the gravel around and everything so much easier, and we'll get a lot more done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll talk offline, Doug, because I can
Right.
help with that.
Brother Tuitahi, I know that in past years, your Tongan stake presidencies and high councilmen have always said that they have that. I think they have that he was talking about. I'm not real familiar with what tool that was you were talking about.
A
But I
skid
think
steer, yeah, or something similar.
Someone in the Tongan stake, I think, has one of those, and he says, if you'd ever just tell me when you need it, I can get it up here.
Yeah.
Can you follow up with that and then get back to them before they go ahead and rent one? Then we'll know for sure.
Yeah, I want to let them know, but you guys need it for this weekend on?
Oh, no, not this weekend. It will be for the week of the cleanup.
The
Oh,
cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be in June.
Yeah, probably June 10th is probably when we'll need it.
Yeah, just let us know. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm new for this meeting, but I'm gonna talk to my for the high council. So which one is have that equipment for that one?
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right, follow up with Doug. Doug, if you'll follow up with Brother Tuitahi, and he's in the Salt Lake South Tongan stake.
Talk to me too, Doug. I got an idea about it, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Doug?
Not about the camp cleanup, no.
Okay, with that camp cleanup, so everyone be looking in your email for those directions and those details, because Doug will be sending those to you for your reference and help you with your planning for that service day. All right, the next thing we'll talk about is our favorite topic every year, which is the camp missionaries, and having somebody come up there to actually be at the camp and serve. Haven't had this happen in a number of years. We've tried and we've pleaded, and we're going to do so again. This year, the assignment for the camp missionaries, there's 2 stakes that are assigned to that this year. Do you have those 2 stakes there?
I do. Let me pull that up.
It's on her agenda. It's Cottonwood.
Oh,
Patty, you just had it up.
Doug's in charge of the handouts tonight.
They were listed on the agenda or whatever, right there. CMS, Little Cottonwood Stake and Murray Parkway
Stake.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did write it there. Salt Lake.
All right, so those are the 2 stakes that we would need help with missionaries. Do we have representatives from those stakes on with us tonight?
You do have Lance Elsasser, or not Lance, Jim McKenna. And we don't have John Murphy.
Okay,
So Jim McKenna.
So yeah, I'm new to this. So tell me, what are the roles and responsibilities, and how long are they expected to be there for, that sort of thing?
All right, well, I'll start in on this, and then Jason and others can fill in any gaps I miss. But the idea would be is if you would have a couple, or even if it's you know, that would be ideal, is to have a couple missionary group to go up there and be there for, you know, if they could be there for a month and a half, and then the other state could be there for a month and a half, that would satisfy it. And if they can't be there for a full month and a half, then if they can alternate weeks with the other, or alternate every 2 weeks with the other stake, that would be fine too. We just need them to be up there mainly to monitor the camp, to welcome the campers as they come in on Monday, and then to be there to help them with, you know, service projects and other things, and then to be there over the weekend, you know, on Friday when they check out, and then they can come home on Saturday and Sunday to, you know, take care of things at home as needed, and then be back up there, you know, on Monday. That's kind of what the missionary couple would be. I mean, obviously they can stay up there over the weekend too if they want to, but we understand these missionary couples might need to come home and do things. But if we can have them there Monday for check-in and Friday for check-out, and be there during the week for service projects, that's the ideal thing that we could have them there for.
Okay, that sounds good. We have a stake high council meeting on Sunday, and so I'll bring that up. And I don't know what the availability is or potential, but I will find out and report back. So
yeah, and if they can be up there during the month of June or July or August, just let us know. That would be very, very helpful. And
there's an RV place. There's an RV. If they have a trailer or an RV, they can park it up there, and it's got water. So it doesn't have electricity. It does not have electricity. It just has water
And
yeah,
sewer and sewage.
and sewer. Yeah.
Yep.
And one last sales pitch is that there is actually a CSM, is that what it's called? A CSM
Church service missionary.
call that is out there that can be filled, and your stake gets credit for filling a service missionary calling if you find someone to take the position.
okay, and they would, and of course, I'm assuming this would start. I mean, let's say they could be up there for the beginning. It would be when is the first date that we'll be having campers up there?
Most likely the first date will be on the 11th
Okay.
Of June.
Okay.
It'll actually not the 11th, the 12th of June. It'll be the
12th,
Monday
yeah.
after our day of service. So if we're planning for the 10th as our day of service, it would be the 12th.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll find out. I'll talk to stake presidency and see what options we have.
And
I'm going to add to that. So that's the ideal. That's what we want. We want a couple up there in a fifth wheel RV, whatever, to, you know, fulfill that spot. The minimum we need, and this could be like two brothers. We need two brothers who can go up to the camp at least once a week, and be on call. So that we're having a problem, or we have this, or we have that, or we have a service project, that they go up there, they serve throughout the day, at least once a week, and come back. Like if that's kind of the minimum, is you need somebody in your stake assigned to be a resource to the camp.
And that is the fallback. So if you're not able to find, if you're not able to find the missionary couple, then what we need is we need to know that person that can be on call, and we will assign them weeks in advance that they're on call. We'll let you know what weeks they're on call, because the way it's worked for the past 4 years, since we haven't had missionary couples, Doug or whoever our high councilman in our stake has been on call, and Jason has been on call and had to go up there multiple times during the summer, and it's all fallen on us, and we need help.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
no, I totally get that. Yeah.
So we'll, you know, if you can find a couple, that'd be great. If not, then we'll assign you the weeks that you need to have somebody on call, and you need to have somebody available to go up and help us with, whether it's a service project or if there's a need where we need somebody to help get a generator going or something like that. We need that help and assistance.
Yep.
Okay. And so June 12th would be the start date. And then what would be the potential last day that we have campers up there?
Usually at the end of August.
But
Okay.
this year it's going to be mid-August because we've closed down the campground for construction, mid-August.
construction.
Oh,
So
okay. So mid-August, okay.
it's about
So it looks
12.
like we just have 2 months. So really,
Yeah.
if your
June
couple
and
could
July,
be,
really.
if your couple could be there a month from the middle of June to middle of July, or from middle of
Yeah.
July to middle of August, that would be
Okay.
great.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I'll take it to our stake presidency and start talking to the bishops and find out who's available, or if we're gonna make it a mission call, so.
It's one of the best missions you can serve, to be very open. I'm biased, but it's one of the best missions you can serve. You're up there with the youth of the church. You're having a fun time. It's great. You're out in the woods. It's cooler. There's a few more bugs.
So we really appreciate your talking with your stake about that. And what, Doug, I mean, Sister Godfrey, can you get us the contact information of the Parkway stake, and we can get in touch with them?
Yeah, it's on that contact list, Doug. It's Murray Parkway, Jim McKenna. Oh, yeah, all of Jim McKenna's information is there. And then the Salt Lake Little Cottonwood guy is John Murphy.
Okay, is John the High Councilman?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll reach out to John and talk to him about this, Doug.
Okay.
It's on
And
the contact list I sent out with the meeting.
yes, I have that. So I'll reach out to him and connect with him on this.
Okay.
And talk to him about it. Okay. And we can send this recorded meeting to them as well. Okay. All right. The next item for discussion is we have a new direction from the I guess the church on paying for these camps. We no longer have an annual assessment of $200 that each stake pays. It's all changed because they've kind of changed the accounting. Basically, the way we fund the camp now is just through the camp sign up and the people that pay to go use the camp. So as stakes, you'll have to, I mean, instead of paying your $200, you'll pay that $200 to go use the camp. And as being a part of the 10 stakes, you have the priority opportunity to sign up and reserve the camp first, like we've always done every year. So instead of making your annual $200 payment, you'll just make that payment when you go to use the camp. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So you'll make your payment online through the system, and Sister Godfrey will help you with that. Once you make your payment, you get, when you reserve a camp, you get a little bit of a discount because you're one of the 10 stakes. And like Sister Godfrey's helped in the past with that. And she can help make sure that $200 is what you pay. If you're going to use the camp, more than once for different things, then you obviously would pay a little bit more because you're using it multiple times. But that's kind of how the church is having us do it now, is funding the camps just through the sign-up system and not through annual assessments.
So if we don't use the camp, we don't pay?
That is basically how it is now, yes.
Wow.
Crazy change, huh? So the only way you're paying really is blood, sweat, and tears on service days.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the ultimate main assignment you have as a stake, is to help us serve with getting the campground cleaned up, getting the missionaries there. And then this is the one camp that you get a discount for, because you are part of the 10 stakes that helps to maintain and helps to serve at this camp. If you end up going to other camps, you don't get the discount that you get here.
And don't forget, you get first availability because of the scheduling rules that exist for assigned stakes to campgrounds. They always get top priority in being able to get in and get dates they want. And they don't have to wait for the system to open up to all the other stakes. So you get the priority also.
Last year, our stake young women had their camp, and on the same weekend, on Friday night, we had our father and sons outing. So if those happen to be separate weeks, a different weekend for the father and sons outing, is there going to be 2 fees?
Oh, well, yeah, good question. Here's the committee at work, so go for it.
Oh,
Well,
if
that
you're
might-
reserving 2 different weekends, yeah, you're gonna pay 2 different fees.
Yeah, if
So-
it's 2 different
$200?
weekends, you would, but if it's the
In the
same weekend
past,
like
they
you've
only
done in the
paid-
past.
In the past, they only paid 200 all year and they reserved it 2, 3, 4 times throughout the year, and they only paid $200 in total. So you want to think through that. Is that for sure what the rule is now? Or are we going to let them go ahead and still have anything they want all year long for $200? So think through that carefully, committee. It's up to you guys.
So this year, the Pioneer Steak, the young women have the Monday through Wednesday, and then fathers and son Friday and Saturday, the same.
Yeah.
week.
It's,
So it's the same
Yeah,
week.
you made that all in one reservation, and you paid like $1,000 to make the reservation. And then I gave you 800 of those dollars back so that you
Right,
only
right.
had 200, even though it was 2 different activities.
Yeah, if it's all in the
Yeah.
same week like that, you get that discount and it's just the $200.
Okay.
okay,
And that's the benefit you get from being one of the 10 stakes involved with the camp.
great.
Okay. I mean, if
So-
it's, yeah,
So
if it's,
if you serve in a separate week, then you're going to pay another $200.
if it ends up being a separate weekend for a father and sons and not a full week, then that might be something we can work with, but
I think the tough part on that one is because you're not collecting assessments, right? If a state came forward and said, I'm gonna pay my $200, I want these 4 weekends and I want this week. Well, then you're, as a camp, not collecting dues, right? Because you're blocking out spots that maybe other stakes, wards, families are gonna pay for, that thus you don't have.
well, what
the
I was gonna say,
resources.
Jason, what I was gonna say, if it's just collectively 1 week.
If it's collectively 1 week, yeah, I can see that. But if you're
No, what I'm saying is
parceling out,
If
yeah.
they reserve a Monday through Friday morning and then it's another weekend, a Friday, Saturday for father and sons,
Yeah.
I think that's okay. So it's collectively 1 week. So if it's your
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
young
I
women
can-
for
yeah.
one thing and a father and sons for a weekend, Friday, Saturday, that is something I
Yeah.
think is great to do for the $200, and that's what you can get that collective 1 week or those 2 activities, a father and sons and a girls camp for $200.
Perfect.
Okay,
Good.
so I see Jason's logic, though, in the fact that we normally were collecting $200 from each of the 10 stakes. We could always count on that income every year to help maintain our budget. And so I understand what you're saying. So if you do a second reservation on another week, even if it's just for an overnight,
There- w-
are we
we're gonna-
going to just keep a certain discount amount that comes in for every reservation? Are we going to only charge 200 every
Sure.
time, or?
So there's some interesting quirks that we're gonna have to work through this season because this is brand new. And I mean this because the reality is what do we use those funds for? Right? Based on the past, we used to do things like, hey, let's build a little ropes course, or let's do this, or let's do that. In reality, because based on what this is saying, those things, like if I want a ropes course, guess what? This says we submit for it and downtown approves and pays for it. So we
Yeah.
don't have to collect a whole lot of money. The only monies that we need to collect would be, pay attention, stakes that are in charge, most likely to help like with the cleanup, like supplies needed, stake provided things for the cleanup, and reimbursements for missionaries, gas, chainsaw, equipment. So that is a very small fund that we would need to collect for. So we might want to just kind of balance that a little, if that makes sense. But again, this is all a work in progress, right? Because they have, that letter that you have is all the information I have. So they haven't given us any more detail of how this actually works.
Well, and this is all very new because this letter didn't even come out until this last week.
That's right. And so, but I'm going to tell you this though, and we will go through these things. So as your camp, right? When we talk about our camp, in a way, we're competing against other camps. In a way, right? We're no longer collecting $200 from 10 stakes. They can take their money and go wherever they want. With that, though, things like adding showers, adding better, facility type stuff, it falls on us to work together on and get approved and get moving forward so that our camp is on par with other camps.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've talked about is getting approval for showers as soon as we can.
And so what I have, and I'm skipping ahead, right? This year, we're getting a new pump so that we can get more water out of the ground. I'm submitting for 2024 to have storage areas added to the pavilions, have electricity added to the camp. And now that we're kind of getting a clear message on this one, if I get the new pump in place, we get the electricity to the camp, showers is the next thing that we'll submit for, shower houses. And then moving on from there, we can get into other items. So what would and we can talk offline about those, but shower, a set of showers on east, set of showers on the west, because we'll have the water.
Okay.
And we'll have the electricity.
Well, those are things that, we can look forward to, and we appreciate all the 10 stakes helping us to support that and continuing to use the camp and continuing those things.
Yeah. And that's the 10 stakes that are here, right? The 10 participating stakes. And I mean this, to get those approvals and to get those things, they're going to ask us how many people are using our camp. Right? Because they don't want to go, it's not a build it and they will come. It's, are they coming? Do they want it? Let's build it.
So we will need everybody's support to continue to use the camp like you have been.
So we've planned for these ropes courses. Now it says that we need to apply for approval on those. So the fact that we haven't built them yet, does that mean that we now have to apply for them?
But the good news is that they haven't given us the process, but it sounds like if they're approved, we pay for it. Me.
Well, true, but we wanted to get those in at the end of this season so that they'd be there for the 24 season.
I will turn a blind eye if you want to put them in.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So any questions on that, anyone?
Yes, please. So this will take place next year as far as the 200 every time you want to use the campsite, or is it for this year?
This year, what we're planning to do is $200 will get you 1 week. That's a Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
But the question is, do the invoices that I've sent out already, are they null and void? And I think my answer was that I was told is yes, those invoices are null and void.
Correct.
Because now we're not going to collect fees from you anymore starting today. And
That's
everyone that sent me fees and sent me a check already for 2023, President Smith, if you could verify this, he shredded all those checks.
That
So
is
you-
correct, because I couldn't do anything with them. They would not let me deposit them. There was no way for me to deposit them. So all I could do was shred them.
We can see already that it was in the works, and that's why they were preventing us from depositing those checks. And they were already thinking in advance and stopping us, obviously.
Well, they
So
didn't know what they were doing, to be honest with you, because we called them and we said, we've got these checks, we can't deposit them. They said, well, we don't know why you can't deposit them. And then we got this letter 2 months later.
So Patty,
Let me just say the names of those stakes that I'm talking about then. Go ahead, Jim.
so Pioneer Stake sent in the 1,000, you sent back the 800, so you've got 200, not in the form of a check. So what will you do with that? Just credit it back?
You have a reservation. No, you have
That's
a
your reservation. When you make a reservation, you pay $200.
That's right. Okay.
Got it.
So
Okay.
That's how you pay. That's how you pay, is by making a reservation. Your reservation only costs you $200.
I got that. I got confused.
It's okay.
So this is who else? The Tongan stake, the Salt Lake South stake sent me a check last year before I even sent the invoices out. And that was going to count for 2023. And I wrote him a note and told him that was going to count for 2023. And I thought I was going to be able to deposit it at that point. And that has not been the case. So that check got shredded. So the Tongan stake has not paid anything for 2023. And you don't have a reservation either, I don't believe, right? So that money should be able to be maintained in your account, and don't expect us to cash that check. Got it?
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then there is 2 other stakes I think I got checks from, and I'm looking real quick to see the names of those stakes. I should have thought to write that down before the meeting. I can't see it. I can't see it on my, oh, Salt Lake South Cottonwood. So that is Salt Lake South Cottonwood. That's Laurie Tranter, and he's not on the meeting right now. And Harriman Anthem Steak. So Alex, you're another one of those checks that I received in January for that invoice when I sent those invoices out. So that check has been shredded also. So make sure you let your stake financial clerk know that that check will not be cashed. And the other one is Murray Parkway. And so that's Jim McKenna. Jim, no, let's see, that was last year. That was last year. Sorry, that was 2022. So it was only Harriman Anthem and Salt Lake South Cottonwood and the Tongan stake. Those are the only ones that I had checks from. And so those are the only ones we had to worry about shredding, and that they won't be needing to pay unless they make a reservation.
I think we have a camping on July, the young woman, on the stake young woman.
Oh, do you? Okay, let's see.
I think it's in July. Let me see, March.
I don't have one for July for you guys. I'm looking at the reservation right now on my other computer. Pioneer, I see one for Pioneer in August.
I think it's on the July 5th to 8th.
July 5th, great. Salt Lake Cannon, I see a Cannon stake one on that Friday night in the West Campground. I don't see one for Tongan. You must have gone and reserved a different campground.
Oh, okay.
You better check with your young women's president and see if she reserved a different campground.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't see you in here at all. So like I said, that $200 is coming back to your Tongan stake, and make sure they know that check has been shredded.
Okay.
And please, everybody, continue to sign up and use the camp so that we can have the ability to justify these improvements and make the camp better for people going forward.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
So just a quick question, please, for those of us who have reservations, we pay as we use it that week?
You've already paid, I guess, for your week.
Right.
So you just pay the $200 for that week, and that's what you pay. Correct.
So who do we pay it to?
It
Well,
goes through the reservation system.
It's the reservation system. So if you make the payment when you reserve the camp, and then Sister Godfrey will reimburse you for anything above the 200 that you had to pay to reserve the camp.
Okay.
But Sister Godfrey, Pioneer's paid, right? We made the reservation, we've got the $200 in. We don't have to pay anything else.
And next year, if you guys don't use our campground, there is no charge. It's only for a reservation in the future. Yeah, so that's why President Smith is encouraging us all to use the campground so that we can pay. into the fund. But if you don't, you don't. I mean, your schedules sometimes just don't count for it. You have other trek and other Heber campground, about every third year, every state comes and uses our campground about every third year. I've noticed kind of a pattern.
It's almost, well, please forgive me. It's almost like they're discouraging us from using it. I mean,
Well, yeah, they're just not charging everybody, even if they don't use it there, but they'd still want us to use the camps. It's just the other thing they did say in this letter that, if for some reason we're not getting, enough funds into the camp, then we might have to increase charges, going forward, which we don't want to do, but hopefully we can get people using the camp. And as we improve the camp, then other people outside of these 10 stakes will use it more.
Yep.
And we'll get more people signing up through the system, which is really what we'd like to see too.
Right.
There's an opposite end too, as far as this, what they're trying to discourage is there were other camps that were charging $1,000, $1,500 assessment per year to the stakes. So they were charging tons of money into their camp. And so then the stakes were cutting checks, you know what I mean, that were a lot larger than ours. So there's two ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, I think we can all look at it as we all 10 of us all still have ownership of a beautiful campground, the 10 stakes of us. We're all in this together. I don't think any of us want to drop out because of this. We're all in this together. We love that campground. We can continue to love it. But now it's not going to cost you $200 a year to show your love. You can show your love in other ways. So just think of it as a blessing. It's just a huge blessing, I think, to all 10 of you and all 10 of us that love the campground so much. So big blessing. It's a big, beautiful burden lifted off your budgets, and you can still serve and love and help and be on the committee and help find missionaries. I mean, there's so many things we still do and give input, what will make it better. I mean, these things that we do on this committee are they're just invaluable. We just can't do this without everybody's help. And this way you don't have to pay to be a member of our fun project.
But you do get the benefit of having a little bit of a discount when you do pay to go use the camp. So
and priority scheduling.
Yep. All right, well, we'll move on to the next. Appreciate everyone's understanding on that. Sorry for the long explanations, but we'll go into
A lot of the people on the committee have been on this committee for years and years and years and parted with money all through all these years. And so it's kind of it's a mind shift, it takes a minute to kind of digest it. So I think it was time well spent.
Okay. All right. The next thing we'll do is, I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but do you have any other camp construction or maintenance projects you want to talk about, Jason?
We got a lot of work this year, but it's all maintenance type stuff. We got a ton of road work that we're doing. We're going to be locating all the septic systems on the west camp. So we're going to be sending somebody out there to do those. Like I said, we're going to be getting a new pump in. Right now, we only pump 5 gallons a minute. The new pump will do anywhere from 12 to 15 gallons a minute, which will triple our water capacity, you might say. So we still have some leaks and some other things that we got to get sorted out. But with that kind of water, we can, again, add showers and things like that to our camp.
The other thing, we have 2 new smaller pavilions going in the West Camp.
Yep, 2 more. And what we can talk to, and we need to talk a little bit more, Doug, on if we want to add more after that too, so that if I need to put them on for 2024.
Right.
Well, and the other thing we've talked about too, which we're still going to try to push through, is at the end of this year, at the end of the season, while we're doing these other construction projects, is to add some volleyball courts and some lower level, I guess.
Ropes.
Obstacle courses is what I would call them.
Yeah. Obstacle courses, ropes courses, and faith building, courses for young women and others to use. So those will all go in. All these improvements are going to be going in during the year, but most likely at the end of the year during the last 2 weeks of August, because it's hard to make all these improvements while people are there. It's hard to have the construction crews and the trucks and the equipment up there during the time people are using the camp, but we're planning ahead so we can get all these improvements done at the end of this year.
Also, I might just add that last year at the end of August and beginning of September, we finished one of the pavilions that we're talking about in campsite number 10. So if you're going to go up for the camp opening and the service day, take a drive over to the West Campground and be sure and go check that out. And then you can see what the plan is for the other two that we're planning to build this year also. And so that number 10 is finished for the first time, and it's going to be used this year for the first time at campsite number 10 over on the West Campground. So go over and take a look at it, and then you'll see what we're talking about, how we're adding more of those.
Yeah, and it'll be great to have all these improvements happening and just really add to our camp.
What I want to, and this is all the members of the committee, and I'm gonna tell you to send them to Doug. Send Doug or Patty your wish list. I wish this camp had this, because I want to get that list together. So as they present and they tell us, oh, what does your camp want? I want that list, because I'd rather put forward 10 things that you guys want and they approve 3 than for us to put, hey, we want a shower. Yep, you got it. I'd rather say, hey, let's throw the spaghetti against the wall. Let's see what sticks. So send your wish list for the camp to Doug and Patty so that we can start working on some numbers and I can send it up the chain.
Okay.
I'd say give us your top 5 suggestions.
Yeah.
That would be great. Okay,
So,
thanks so much, Jason. Appreciate all you're doing.
I was going to say, the people in this, they need to go to their young women's leaders and their young men's leaders and get the list from them. They're at the camp. What do they want?
Yes.
Yes.
A water slide. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Let's
They all know what they're going to say. They're all going to say zip line. So tell us what the answer
so,
about is.
you know what I mean? Exactly. So, okay, do you want just a zip line or do you want a ropes course? Do you, and I'm not, you know what I mean? There is a place you can put a little water slide. Okay. What, you know what I mean? Would that be okay? You know, a sprinkler, I don't know. You know what I mean? So
Sometimes just supplies for activities like archery or volleyball.
we want an archery course. We want a bowling, like an outdoor bowling alley. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
send
use your imagination.
Use your imaginations. Go to your young men's leaders. Go to your one. Get that list and say, this would be a really cool activity for our young men. This would be a really cool activity for our young women. And let's get that list going.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, and our last item on the agenda is, we'll turn the time over to Patty to talk about the training schedule.
Well, you know, part of my job used to be invoicing and collecting these checks and getting them deposited. I'm working myself out of a job with this letter with no finances. So I'm kind of working myself out of a job because also I've got another thing that I'd like to do away with on my list of things to do. And one of them is down a little ways at the bottom of the bullets, where I'm talking about online scheduling begins for assigned stakes in 2024, that one right there. You notice that, well, let's just go through it. September 1st, 2023, and this date may change. You know what? The other handout, Doug, is it's called priority scheduling. That's the handout I need. I can't remember.
Let me see if I can get it.
Okay. Let's see if you can't find it. Let's see if I can just maybe read it.
Well, why don't you go ahead and start, and I'll get it here in just a second.
Okay. So what the priority scheduling has always been is when our stake, when our when this one is the one that I'm looking for. When our 10 assigned stakes to our campground go online, the first date they can go on, actually the date is October 16th. So that September 1st date was wrong. The first day they can go online to make reservations for the 2024 camping season is October 16th. And that's for the Stake Young Women's Presidencies to our assigned camp. And that is the big main date where our stake Young Women Presidents used to always coordinate where they wanted to camp and what dates. And then I would kind of organize scheduling them. Since we've opened up the West Campground and have that in addition to the East Campground, I have found that having 2 large campgrounds to handle our priority scheduling for that very first October 16th date it used to have to be guided by which stake fell first, because I would rotate them. And I have found in the last 2 years, I've kind of been taking a mental note of how often I have to use that priority scheduling of our 10 stakes as to who gets first choice of which week that they want. I have found that the weeks never cross over each other, that with the 2 campgrounds, if they want the same week, they end up being able to have an extra campground to choose from. There is almost no reason to maintain this priority rotation schedule that is the other handout. And this year, when it starts in October, it will be Harvest Park Stake and South Cottonwood and Cannon would be the top 3 stakes that would have the top first priority. And then Harriman Anthem would be number 4. And then in 2025, Harriman Anthem would be number 1. They'd have first priority. And you know what? I've just noticed in the last 2 years, I don't even need to coordinate this with these Stake Young Women Presidents. All I do is email them and let them know this October 16th date is coming up, and that then they can go reserve from other campsites and other campgrounds on October 23rd. And then the wards get to open up and use the schedule for our camp in our 10 assigned stakes, the wards in our stake. Then it opens up for them on October 30th, November 6th. By the time it gets around to everyone making decisions and getting around to it, it's like they just take what's on the calendar and nobody really has cared or gotten upset or anything. Now, I did this for years and years because it used to be we didn't do camping on the we didn't do camping reservations online like this before. I used to keep the schedule just by paper, just on an Excel spreadsheet. And listen, there used to be a reason for this. The reason has gone. So I think I'd like a show of hands and a vote to say you're ready to let me abandon the priority rotation schedule. The priority rotation schedule, if that's okay with everybody.
Patty, before we call for a vote, why don't we see if anyone has comments?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Does anybody have any feedback for me and is worried about this? Some of you have been around for a long time and know the reason why we used to have it.
So just to clarify, they'll still have the opportunity to go in and schedule on those dates. It's just everyone has the opportunity to go in and do that.
Right, and it's kind of just going to be first come, first served on those dates. And usually that week in October, honestly, the Stake Young Women Presidents don't even have their schedules all set up by October 6th for the next year anyway.
But it'll be open. It'll be open
that
that date for anyone to start signing up whenever they'd like, and it does not open for the remainder of people to sign up until after the 11th.
later.
Yeah, the 23rd.
23rd.
Is when the 23rd is when other young women stake presidencies call me and start making reservations.
When you say other, what do you mean by other?
Well, that means they can come from any stake outside of the 10
Okay.
Any young women presidents from any stake outside of our 10 can then make reservations on our campsite reservation system. So this priority rotation that I used to maintain and protect and care so much about, it's only good for 1 week these days, because it's like, it's only good for 7 days. And if the young women presidents don't get in there and make those reservations, and I don't have any control over that, they have to do it. If they don't make those reservations in that 1 week, then the priority rotation goes out the window anyway, because other stakes are in there using our schedule.
Okay.
So,
And you don't control that system and when it allows those dates. So
that's the church headquarters. This priority scheduling you're seeing in front of you is from church headquarters.
so I think
I was gonna say, and just to reiterate what Patty said earlier, is you've got Trek, you've got the other youth things. So you already, of the 10 participating stakes that are valid for that week, you're gonna have 2 or 3 of them that aren't even coming because they have other commitments. They're, Trek, whatever, so.
Right.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on that, or are we ready to just vote on that?
So that'll cancel the rest of this schedule you've got for 24 and 25, right?
Yeah, yes,
That'll go away.
that's what's left on the schedule is 24 and 25, and
So that-
that'll basically do away with those two, and then I won't create it again.
Because
That means
that's out,
everybody will have the opportunity to sign up that week early, though.
right. But if somebody's got that, well, we'll just need to let them know that no longer holds true of their priority for those 2 years, which is fine. But this is out there for other years.
Yeah,
So-
just tell everybody that wonders about it. And I write the young women presidents in your stakes
That's
emails
right.
all the time. They all know me. And I talk to them all the time, and I'll just explain it to them and just tell them that they've got that week to just go in and let their priority be known and their request be known. And you know what? It's rare, a very rare occasion. They both want the same week. And that if they did, they couldn't just go one to the east and one to the west. It's like, it's a rare occasion that there'll even be a problem with any of your stake young women presidents. Very rare.
Okay.
Patty, on that, on the one that says as of March 9th, 2023, this schedule on here is for the 2024 season, right? Because it doesn't say that anywhere. So we just want to make sure October 16th, if they want to, they could go in, but it's for the 2024
Correct.
schedule, right?
That's
Right.
correct.
This is for reserving for 2024.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I skipped a bunch on the agenda. The other thing on the agenda was training on Thursday, May 4th. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. I tried to get it on Thursday, the 11th, but the room was busy, so I moved it to May 4th. So the training now has been set up for this year's camping, 2023 camping, at 7 p.m. in our Relief Society room at our stake center here in Murray. And so, and then people that make reservations after May 4th will take the training online with a little online system that I invented. Okay, any questions about the training?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, my last ask is just that you help me keep my contact list up to date. And so when you see this contact list and take a look at it, if you'll just remember those things that I need to have updated, if your young women presidents have changed or changed their phone numbers or changed their email addresses, keep me informed about that. And then also, if you get a new calling and pass your job on to someone else, please make sure somebody contacts me and lets me know so I can keep you guys all informed when we have emails that go out through the summer.
One question I had for you, Patty, on the training for the 4th of May, do you generally get an RSVP of who's coming?
No, but I have people that are calling me saying, when is the training? We can't wait for the training. And so I get so many phone calls before
Okay.
that
Well-
I pretty much know they're all coming because they are begging for it.
Okay, well, I mean, it would be, I'm glad people call you, and it'd be great for people to let you know so that you kind of can plan on how many people are coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
I end up taking all the extra cookies home, so sorry.
That's fine. I just don't want you to have to eat too many cookies, you know?
Yes.
You got grandkids you can give them to, I guess, but anyway. All right, well, thanks so much, everybody, and appreciate Patty and Jason and Doug for all your work and efforts and planning for this meeting, and appreciate everyone's attendance. Do we have any other questions from anyone before we close for tonight? All right, we appreciate everyone coming and all that you're doing to help maintain this camp, and your service with us here as part of the 10 stakes, and mainly for this camp and for the benefit it provides for everyone who goes, the young women, young men, also for others who get to enjoy it, who aren't even members of the church. It's just a great opportunity and a great campsite. And if that's everything, we'll go ahead and see if Sister Emery, could you give us a closing prayer? Would that be okay?
Yes, I can do that.
Jason, did you have one more thing? You're on mute.
President Smith, Doug, and Patty, can you just stay on for 2 minutes?
Yes.
Thanks.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day. We're grateful that we could meet as a committee and the things we're able to discuss. We're grateful for our membership in thy church and for the blessings it brings to us. We're grateful for our Savior and the example he is. And please help us to strive each day to become more like him. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you, Sister Emery. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Everyone have a